Hello and welcome to this presentation giving you an overview on how to access NPS focus results on the new Customer Insight platform. For the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to use a test username and password. You'll obviously have your own, which you will enter here and then click sign in. This brings us to the welcome page, and straight away in the left-hand column we have a drop-down list from information. All the menus are displayed in the left-hand column, and just click on them to gain access to the services that you're registered for. If you're not registered for a service, so for example email focus, then you'll get a note up like this. So under the drop-down list information we have guidance, assign manager, preferences and auto emails. Most of these are set up for you already, so if we click into assign manager, the different levels of security will be in there. The 3 levels are administrator, who can do and see everything, manager, who can do most things except access the assign manager section. There's inputters, but these aren't relevant to the NPS service. Manager email list, this is where you will enter the name of a manager or managers who will be sent along with the administrator notification emails when a survey has been entered that has an open box question filled in or requires a response by the customer. Area manager details, again, this isn't applicable for the NPS focus. We can skip preferences, again that's not applicable for NPS, and go straight to auto email. Here you can set up an auto email if you decide to include an incentive within a survey. So when a survey is completed, the customer is automatically sent an incentive in an email. Or you can send up an auto response email to those customers that's queries and issues that have been resolved. So like I said, the incentive email goes out immediately when a survey is completed, but the resolution email would go out 15 days after the resolution of an issue. So we'll start with the resolution email. That would be under this red header. The subject header is set as a default, so it would be the name of your leisure centre and your NPS comment has been resolved. In this pale blue section at the top, you'll see that it tells you it already will automatically insert the header and footer. So the header will read Dear and then the operator and then customer, and the footer will come from the manager and his or her email address and phone number that's entered in the assign manager section under manager email list. So all you need to do here is insert the body text for the email. You have a selection of styles, fonts and icons here to customize your email. Once you put in your body text, you need to click submit. And then if you want to use the resolution email, make sure this is selected to on. Then 15 days after the resolution of an issue, the customer will be sent the email. If we scroll to the bottom, under the green headers, this is where we'd send out the incentive email and voucher. So again, with the email, it has an auto default subject as the name of the leisure centre and voucher. The header and footer will be inserted automatically as described before, and here you would enter the body text of the email, again being able to select your style and size, etc. And then you would click submit. Again, if you're going to use it, just make sure this is selected as on. To upload a voucher, it needs to be a PDF file. So you would choose your file here, select a PDF, and then upload. Yes. And you'll see once it's uploaded and I've refreshed the page, that this title within the screen will be underlined. That just gives confirmation there is a PDF attachment. So we'll refresh the page. And as I said, this is now underlined. So if you want the customer to receive the voucher if they leave an email address, you must make sure this is selected on and this is underlined, and they will then receive this email with this attachment. So the administrator can go in here at any point, they can click these on and off, they can change the body text of the emails as long as they click submit afterwards so it refreshes it, and they can delete and upload new incentives. So say for example, 1 month it's a guest pass and then the next month they want to change that to a 10% off in the cafe, for example. They would delete the existing PDF. And again, if I refresh, you'll see now that that title in that green box is no longer underlined, so there's nothing attached. And then they would upload another PDF file, and they can change the context of the email as long as they press submit. Okay, so let's have a look now at NPS Focus. If we click on NPS Focus, we have 7 options. When we click on View NPS Survey, you'll be able to view a copy of the survey that is sent out to the customer. It's set to a default of 7. So if for whatever reason the customer doesn't move the shifter along, then the scores won't be affected because it's a passive score. They change the score by moving the slider along. And once they've clicked select, they're given the option to explain why they've given that score and give some comments. Underneath that, this is completely optional, and this can be taken away from the survey, or if you want to send out an incentive, the customer has the option of filling in their name and email address so that once they've submitted the survey, and if you've correctly filled in the stuff in the auto email section as we've just gone through, they will then receive that email and that incentive. Then they have the option to be contacted by the manager reference to their comments, yes or no. They select yes, they're asked if they'd like to be contacted by phone or email, and then they'll be asked to enter their phone number or their email address before submitting the survey. So as I've said before, you will then receive notifications of those that have left comments or require a response. So you'll come into the system and you'll look under responses. Here it will list all of the NPS surveys that have been completed, and if you click on a response, the details will appear on the right-hand side. When looking at the responses as well, you can change the number that you can view in any one time from 10 up to 100. So once you get lots of responses in there, you'll be able to view more at a time. And if you're looking for a particular customer's response, you can type in their name in search, and that will bring up that customer. Okay, so to action a response, you need to look under Actions. Under Actions, we have New, In Progress, Resolved, and Unresolved. So if we look in New, we will see any new responses. We'd click on them to view the details on the right-hand side. And here we're going to ask for a little bit of analysis by the manager so that we can see which part of the customer experience they're commenting on, which activity area, and whether it's a complaint or a compliment. So these 3 boxes need to be filled in so that we can do this to get some analysis. So here we'll say that they're commenting on cleanliness and the pool, and that it's a complaint. Okay. Then we have an action box. This customer has asked to be contacted by telephone, so the manager could give them a call, and if it's resolved first time, he'd type in here, phoned customer, and they are now happy. The time is set at the time the action is inserted, so it's set to the time and date, current date and time, and the name of the person that is taking the action, and then we can click Resolved and Submit, and then yes. And that means that I've had a response that required an action by the manager and I've resolved it first time. This has now moved through to the Resolved folder. But if I hadn't have resolved it first time, it would then go into In Progress. I will then be reminded by email that I need to go back in and do a second action to try and resolve it. It will then also move into Resolved. I can also view all the details in the Resolve folder and the actions that have been taken by clicking on the response and it coming up on the right-hand side, so it gives the time and who resolved it and the action. Anything that you go through 2 actions and that isn't resolved would then go into unresolved. Okay, so that's how we view the NPS responses and how you deal with actions. So now we'll go into reports. So you can filter by start and end date, and you can select the leisure centre and then click submit. Yes. This will generate a report that gives the overall NPS score, the number of scores given for detractors, passive and promoters, and the percentage. And underneath that, there'll be a longitudinal graph that month by month will tell you the NPS score. And by hovering over it, it gives you that score as well. All of these graphs can be printed and downloaded, the same as by clicking here, sorry. And underneath we have the maximum NPS score, average and minimum NPS score based on this time bracket and this leisure centre. Okay, so that's the reporting section. We can now move on to analysis and graphs. Again, you can filter by start and end dates, but here you can select different analysis, whether it be all or whether you want to base it on the complaints, compliments, and comment suggestions, which are what you would have categorised earlier within the responses. So for now, we'll just select all. Okay. And this will generate a report which gives us the analysis that we have selected. First of all, we'll get a league table and where we sit within it. This will be shown because it will be bold. So here we are, we have the league table here and we're second, so we're in bold black here. Underneath that, we have a score chart showing us the national average, which is based on all operators within the platform that are using the NPS service. The operator average is the average across all leisure centres within your operator. And then we have the individual leisure centre NPS scores. Again, all of these charts can be printed and downloaded. Same with this league table, we can copy, print, or this into a CSV, Excel, or PDF file. Okay, now we have 4 graphs that relate to how quickly we've been responded to. We've responded to customer comments. So this one, it shows us the response time analysis based on the initial action, and on this one, the resolution analysis based on follow-up actions. So this one is how quickly we responded in the first place, and this one is how quickly we resolved it. So again, all of these graphs can be printed and downloaded, and all the graphs are dynamic in that you can go to the legend and click them on and off to show different responses within the graph. Okay, so as we scroll down further down, this gives us a breakdown on the activity group, and this relates only to the comments that you would have categorized again, and this is by experience. Then we have some longitudinal graphs. This one shows where the comments have come in by activity area, and this one shows which percentage are negative and which are neutral. Okay, so now we'll go on to life cycle scores. This will take a bit of time to become of any use. Again, we can select a time frame and a leisure centre, but here we need the same person to have completed the survey at least twice, because what happens is by email, it will record an individual's scores over 5 surveys. So then you can see if a person's score has moved up or down over that period of time. So by clicking on each of the scores, you can remind yourself of the details, and we can then do what we call a progressional rate analysis, which would be here. Basically shows for that selected time period how many people have moved from detractor to promoter, detractive to passive, and passive to promoter, and therefore calculates a progressional rate score. This will also be shown in a graph below here. So this is quite important. One of the key things of NPS is moving people up the scale, and this will probably take between 6 and 12 months to get some good analysis here. So finally, we go to extract results, where you'll get a list of the scores and comments, which you can copy, print, and save perhaps as an Excel so that you can do some further analysis. So that's it for the NPS Focus demonstration. If you have any further questions, please contact me, Sarah Forster, on 01603 865 631, or email me sarahforster@leisure-net.org. If you can't get hold of me, please call the head office on 01603 814 233 and ask for Sarah Gilvey or Mike Hill. Okay, thank you very much.